Hey, how's it going? It's Keith Townsend from the CTOadvisor.com with another CTO Daily Dose. So I've been going back and forth on Twitter with this conversation. I think I've discovered a pretty consistent, theme and misconception. Not an endorsement and not a denial of the value of the service of a VMware Cloud on AWS, but consistently a theme of, is VMware Cloud on AWS too expensive or more expensive than? And I think the baseline that people have been comparing VMware Cloud on AWS to has been the challenge. So expanding the conversation beyond VMware Cloud on AWS, there's a mandate in many organizations to go cloud first, that you have to make the transition. So make a move, put a foot forward. If that means that you take all of your legacy static applications and put them to the cloud and pay extra for that cloud model, we understand the basic math of why IDC is saying so many companies are coming back from the public cloud back on-prem. When you put these static workloads like a application server that supports SAP or Oracle Business Suite, when you put that application onto a EC2 instance in the cloud, which was designed to go up and down and be pay-as-use, it's simply more expensive than running it on-prem. That's just the math of the technology. Pay-as-you-go is best used when you're elastic in your usage. Most of our data center workloads are not elastic in the usage. So we have this unnatural fit of applications. The applications may work in the given technology, but the pricing model of the technology doesn't work for these applications. So when people compare VMware Cloud on AWS to something, it's normally VMware Cloud on AWS to VMware on-prem. Two similar solutions, but completely different use cases. If I'm advising a small business that needs 4 VMware vSphere hosts, which is not so small, that's a lot of licensing, a lot of CPU, a lot of memory, a lot of compute. I probably wouldn't recommend VMware vSphere at all for that small of a use cases. There's enough solutions like Scale Compute out on the market that solves that use case. When you compare VMware Cloud to that use case, yes, it's more expensive. It's probably too expensive. It is the wrong solution for that size business. But when you start to compare VMware Cloud to what it truly competes against, it's competing against taking your applications lift and shift and putting them in the cloud and running them with EC2. So obviously from an operations perspective, keeping the same operating model from your on-prem to your off-prem, your cloud instance, keeping that operating model consistent has tremendous value. So even if we discount that value, simply using VMware vSphere in AWS as a native solution to these legacy applications makes both technical and financial sense. In the data center, we use VMware vSphere and competitors because we have fixed assets. We have these workloads that are static and being, and we can stack them upon one another and get a higher level of utilization. We can't do that with EC2. If a workload uses 20% of a EC2 instance, we don't claw back that 80% utilization. The workload isn't designed to go up and down and give us that elasticity. AWS is going to vMotion your application from one EC2 instance to another. That's just not how public cloud works. So when you're comparing VMware vSphere in the cloud, so VMC AWS, to a solution, don't compare it to what you can build on-prem. Two different use cases. Is apples and oranges. What you need to compare it to is EC2. There's going to be instances where EC2 comes out to be cheaper. If you're very dense and your utilization is relatively lower cost servers, then the chances are VMC on AWS will be cheaper. So it's not a matter as if VMware Cloud is on AWS is cheaper than on-prem, or even cheaper than EC2. It's what is your use case? What are your usage patterns? Until the next CTO Dose, you can follow me on the web at CTO Advisor on Twitter, thectoadvisor.com. Until then, talk to you next dose.